She was hiding in the closet when they came. She heard everything. The screams, the begging, the silence that followed. But when police found her 3 hours later, covered in her brother's blood, 8-year-old Emily Chen didn't say a word. Not that night. Not the next day. Not for 3 years, until November 2021, when she finally opened her mouth, and what she said changed everything we thought we knew about that night. What city are you watching from today? If you want to follow a team dedicated to chasing untold stories, don't forget to subscribe. My name is David Harrington. I've been investigating crimes for 24 years. I worked for the FBI, solved hundreds of cases, but the Emily Chen case, this one was different. Because we had a witness who had all the answers. She just wasn't talking, and when she finally spoke, no one was ready for what she had to say. October 14, 2018, Sunday evening, Chicago, Illinois, Lincoln Park neighborhood. The Chen family was a normal family. Robert Chen was a 42-year-old software engineer. His wife Michelle was a 39-year-old elementary school teacher. They had 2 children, 12-year-old Brandon and 8-year-old Emily. That Sunday evening at 7:47 p.m., Michelle called her sister Linda. It was a normal conversation, weekend plans, the kids' school projects, Thanksgiving preparations. The call lasted 22 minutes. Linda later told police, everything seemed normal. Michelle sounded relaxed and happy. There were no problems. At 8:15 p.m., neighbor Sarah Martinez walked past the Chen house and saw light through the living room window. The TV was on. Brandon was playing a video game. Robert was working on his laptop. Michelle was washing dishes in the kitchen. Sarah later recalled, it was a perfect family picture. Calm, peaceful. Who knew what would happen an hour later? At 8:42 p.m., Emily was playing with her dolls in her upstairs bedroom. Her door was half open. She could hear every sound from the stairs. Her father's keyboard clicking, her mother humming in the kitchen, Brandon yelling at his game. When the clock hit 8:47 p.m., Emily heard something. A strange sound at the front door. Metal. Then her father's voice. Who is it? No answer. Then the noise started. Emily never said anything afterward, but her therapist, Dr. Sarah Vance, reconstructed that night from the drawings Emily made during silent sessions. Here's what Emily saw. She was standing at the top of the stairs. Below she saw 2 people. They had masks on their faces, black clothing. One was short and stocky, the other tall and thin. They were pushing her father. Her mother screamed, "Emily, run upstairs, hide." Emily didn't run. She froze. 1 second, maybe 2, but that was enough. The tall man turned toward her. His eyes locked onto Emily from behind the mask. Then Emily moved. She ran to her room, but not behind the door. Emily went where her mother had taught her, inside the closet, to the back corner, behind the clothes and boxes. Her mother had taught her this. If bad people ever come to the house, hide. Don't make a sound, no matter what. Michelle Chen had trained her daughter to save her life. But why? It would take 3 years to ask that question. Inside the closet, Emily waited, curled up in the darkness. She heard sounds, everything. Her father's voice, "Please, the children are here." Her mother's screams, Brandon's crying. Then sounds, hitting sounds, falling sounds, breaking sounds, then silence. But it wasn't over. Footsteps climbed the stairs. Emily's bedroom door opened. Someone entered. Emily held her breath. The closet door opened. "It's empty," said the short one. His voice was hoarse and accented. "Check the window," said the tall one. Footsteps moved around the room. Emily froze like stone behind the clothes. Her heart was beating so fast she was sure he would hear it. Then the tall man spoke again. She escaped. "Let's go." The footsteps moved away. They went down the stairs. The front door opened, closed, silence. Emily stayed in the closet for 6 hours. She didn't move, didn't speak, didn't even cry, because her mother had taught her, stay hidden until it's completely quiet. Even then, if you're not sure, wait a little longer. The next morning at 2:47 a.m., police broke down the door. A neighbor had reported strange sounds at midnight, but the sounds had occurred at 8:50 p.m., 4 hours too late. When officers entered, they found 3 bodies. Robert Chen in the living room, dead from head trauma. Michelle Chen in the kitchen, strangled to death. Brandon Chen at the bottom of the stairs, multiple stab wounds, but Emily Chen was missing. At 3:12 a.m., Detective James Rodriguez went upstairs. He entered Emily's room. He opened the closet. Behind the clothes in a corner, he found an 8-year-old girl curled up. Her body was frozen, her eyes open, but staring at nothing. Her brother's blood was in her hair, on her clothes. Rodriguez reached for her. "Emily, you're safe now." Emily said nothing, didn't move, as if she wasn't even there. At 3:30 a.m., an ambulance took Emily to Northwestern Memorial Hospital. Doctors examined her. Physically, she was unharmed, but psychologically, Dr. Patricia Coleman, emergency room psychiatrist, wrote in her report, "Emily Chen is showing symptoms of selective mutism, traumatic shock, completely unresponsive, eyes open, but appears to see nothing. Intensive psychological intervention recommended." Emily Chen had stopped talking, and no one could have guessed then that she wouldn't say a single word for 3 years, 2 months, and 17 days. Chicago Police Department, Homicide Division, October 2018, November 2018. November. Detective James Rodriguez couldn't forget this case. For 3 years, he thought about Emily Chen every day, because he had a witness who had the answers, but she wasn't talking. The first month was intense. The forensics team swept the house. Blood samples, fingerprints, DNA. They found nothing. The killers were professional. They wore gloves. They cleaned their footprints. There was no sign of forced entry, as if someone had opened the door for them. Rodriguez investigated the Chen family's life. Were there problems with Robert Chen's work? No. Was he in debt? No. Gambling, drugs, illegal activity? Nothing. Michelle Chen, perfect record, elementary school teacher, active in the community, no enemies. They were a normal family, Rodriguez said. These kinds of murders made no sense. It wasn't robbery. Valuables were in place. It wasn't revenge. They had no problems with anyone. So what was it? The only clue came from neighbor Sarah Martinez. 2 weeks before the incident, she'd seen a strange vehicle, a black SUV, license plates covered, passing slowly in front of the Chen house. It was like they were surveying the place, she said. But the SUV was never found. There was no security camera footage. There were no cameras on that street. The case went cold. Months turned into years. Rodriguez retired. The file was moved to archives. But Emily Chen was still alive, and still not talking. Emily's guardian, Linda Martinez, Michelle's sister. After Michelle died, Emily moved in with her Aunt Linda. Linda was a married, childless woman. She loved Emily like her own daughter. But Emily was a ghost. She would sit silently at school. She'd play with her toys at home, but make no sound. She'd have nightmares at night, but wouldn't even scream. Just wake up sweating, trembling. Linda took her to countless therapists. No one could make progress. Emily drew pictures, hundreds of them, but never spoke. Linda was falling into despair. "Emily is lost," she said one day. "Her body is here, but her soul stayed there that night." But Linda was wrong. Emily wasn't lost. She was just watching, waiting, and remembering. November 2021, Boston, Massachusetts. My name is David Harrington. I focus on solving cold cases, especially cases of forgotten victims who've lost their voices. In November 2021, I received an email. The sender was Linda Martinez, Emily Chen's aunt. The email said, "Mr. Harrington, I heard you on a podcast. You said you look at hopeless cases. I have a case 3 years old. My family was murdered. My 8-year-old niece saw everything, but she won't talk. The police gave up. Can you please help? I read the file. 3 murders, no witness, technically no clues. Cold case. But one detail caught my attention. Emily Chen was still alive, and maybe she couldn't speak, but she was drawing. I called Linda. Can I see the drawings? A week later, I was in Chicago. First meeting, Emily Chen. Linda Martinez's house was in Lincoln Park, 4 miles from the Chen family's old home. Emily was now 11 years old. She had long black hair, large brown eyes, small, silent, like a ghost. As I sat in the living room, Emily entered. She looked at me, a long, assessing look, then sat in the corner chair, said nothing. "Hello, Emily," I said. "I'm David. I want to talk about your family." No response, just stared. Linda brought the drawings, hundreds of them, charcoal, pastel, marker, all depicting the same night, but from different angles, different moments. In one drawing, there were 2 figures, one short and stocky, the other tall and thin. They had masks. In another, a door, open, light spilling out. In another, a closet. Inside, a small figure, hiding. "Did Emily draw these in therapy?" I asked. "Yes," Linda said. "Dr. Vance uses art therapy. When Emily can't use words, she draws." I studied the pictures. Emily wasn't just remembering, she was documenting. Every detail was there, but something was missing. Faces. The masked figures' faces were unclear. Emily hadn't seen them, or she had but didn't want to remember. "Emily," I said slowly, "can I show you something?" Emily looked up. Her eyes were attentive. I pulled out a photo from an FBI file, a similar home invasion case. "Look at this picture. Does it remind you of anything?" Emily froze. She looked at the photo. Her hands trembled. Then slowly she nodded. "Yes, it was the first communication. Small but something." "Thank you, Emily," I said. "You're a very brave girl." Something changed in Emily's eyes. A spark. Maybe hope. Maybe fear. But something. Linda introduced me to Dr. Sarah Vance. She was Emily's therapist, had been working with her for 3 years. Dr. Sarah Vance, child trauma specialist. "Emily is exhibiting selective mutism," Dr. Vance told me. "But this isn't just trauma. Emily can speak. There's nothing physically wrong, but she chooses not to." "Why?" "Because silence keeps her safe." "Safe from whom?" I asked. "I don't know, but Emily is still afraid. She has nightmares. She startles at sounds. When walking on the street, she constantly looks around, as if someone is watching her." This made me think. Emily wasn't talking because she was still under threat. I called Marcus Chen, not related to the victims, from my team to Chicago. Marcus was a criminal psychologist, especially expert in child witnesses and trauma. Marcus worked with Emily for 2 weeks. They didn't talk, because Emily didn't talk, but Marcus asked her questions. Emily answered with head nods, drawings, sometimes writing. One day Marcus asked her, "Emily, did the killers see you that night?" Emily froze, dropped her pencil, then slowly nodded. "Yes." "Did they see your face?" Nodded again. "Yes." Marcus turned to me. "That's why she's not talking. Emily is hiding herself, because the killers could recognize her. But 3 years had passed. Why would the killers still be a threat?" The answer was simple, because they hadn't been caught, and maybe they were still looking for Emily. November 26, 2021, Friday. Dr. Vance's office. That day was a routine therapy session. Emily and Dr. Vance sat together. Emily was drawing a picture. Again, the same night. Then Dr. Vance sat together. Emily was drawing a picture. Again, the same night. Then Dr. Vance sat together. Emily was drawing a picture. Again, the same night. Then Dr. Vance sat together. Vance tried something. She asked Emily a question, but this time it was different. "Emily, why did the killers come? Did you know them?" Emily paused her drawing. The pencil in her hand hung in the air. Then Emily spoke. Her first words. "After 3 years, 2 months, and 17 days. My mum knew them." The voice was hoarse, broken, but it was there. Dr. Vance was shocked. "Emily, you're talking." Emily looked up, tears in her eyes. "My mum knew them. She opened the door for them." Dr. Vance immediately called me. "David." Emily spoke. An hour later I was at the office. Emily, Linda, Dr. Vance and Marcus were there. Emily looked at me. "I know the killers," she said. Her voice was still weak but determined. "Tell me, Emily," I said. "Start from the beginning." And Emily told the story. "Here's what really happened that night." Emily's statement. "That night my mum was very nervous. She kept checking her phone. Dad didn't notice, but I did. Mum was scared. It was around 8:30. The door knocked. Mum jumped up immediately. "I'll get it," she said. Dad thought it was weird because the doorbell didn't ring. No one rang the bell. Mum opened the door. 2 men were there. They weren't wearing masks yet. I was at the top of the stairs. I saw them. One said to Mum, "Michelle, we need to talk." Mum said, "Please, the children are here." The man said, "Then let's make it quick." They put on masks, pushed Mum inside. Dad stood up. "Who are these people?" he yelled. Mum said, "Robert, I'm sorry." She was crying. Then everything happened so fast. The tall man hit my dad. The short man grabbed Brandon. Brandon tried to run, but Emily stopped. Couldn't breathe. "Go on, Emily," Marcus said gently. "You're safe." Mum yelled at me. "Emily, hide," she said. But I froze for a second. The tall man looked at me. I saw his face, from under the mask. I saw his eyes. Then I ran, to the closet, to the back corner, behind the clothes. I heard sounds, terrible sounds. Brandon's screams, Mum's crying. Dad wasn't making sounds anymore. Then silence. Footsteps came upstairs. They entered my room, opened the closet. They were so close to me. I could smell them, cigarettes and sweat. The short man said, "It's empty." The tall man said, "Are you sure?" "Yes. Windows open. Maybe she escaped. Find her. The little girl saw us. Let's check outside." They left. But before going down, the tall man said something. "Michelle, this is your fault. If you hadn't talked, none of this would have happened. Mum was still alive. She was crying. Please leave Emily alone. She's just a child." One more sound, then silence. They left. I stayed in the closet until morning, because Mum had said, "Stay hidden until you're completely safe." When Emily finished, the room was silent. Linda was crying. Marcus took notes. Dr. Vance held Emily's hand. I asked, "Emily, you said you saw their faces. Do you recognize them?" Emily nodded. "I recognize one, the short man. Mum called him Vincent. She'd talked to him before. He'd come to our house. Mum kept me upstairs that day, but I heard his voice." "When?" I asked. 2 weeks before it happened. Mum and Vincent argued. Mum said, "I can't do this." Vincent said, "Too late, Michelle." Everything was beginning to make sense. Michelle Chen had gotten involved in something, and it had put her family in danger. I took Emily's statement to Chicago PD. The case was reopened, but 3 years had passed. The trail was cold. Marcus and I dug into Michelle Chen's past. What did we find? 2015-2017, Michelle volunteered at an organization called Chicago Community Outreach. She helped families in low-income neighborhoods. 2017, the organization got caught in a scandal. It was revealed that donations were stolen. $2.3 million missing. FBI opened an investigation, but the case was dropped due to insufficient evidence. Michelle left the organization, but it was clear she knew something. September 2018, Michelle made an anonymous tip to the FBI. Community Outreach Director Vincent Kozlov was funneling donations to Russian organized crime groups. Money laundering operation. I have evidence. The FBI opened a file. They planned to interview Michelle. Interview date, October 15, 2018. But Michelle Chen was killed on the night of October 14, 2018. 1 day before the interview, Vincent Kozlov, Russian immigrant, 52 years old. He was the CFO of Community Outreach. After the 2017 scandal, the organization closed, but Vincent disappeared. The FBI had been looking for him, but hadn't found him. Now we knew why. The man was a killer. Working with Emily's description, we prepared an identikit with a forensic artist. Vincent Kozlov, short, stocky, 50s, bald, Russian accent. Second killer, tall, thin, 40s, identity unclear. We scanned FBI files, found Vincent's known associates. One stood out, Dmitry Sokolov, tall, thin, 43 years old, Kozlov's former business partner. Both men were missing, but we tracked them. December 2021, Marcus suggested a strategy. Let's leak that Emily spoke to the media. If the killers still see Emily as a threat, they'll act. It was a risky plan, but Linda agreed, because Emily was talking now and couldn't maintain silence forever. We leaked to a local newspaper. Witness in Chen case speaks. First statement after 3 years. We started waiting. 2 days later, a car came to Linda's house at night. Caught on security camera, black SUV, license plate covered, stayed for 15 minutes, then left. Vincent Kozlov had started looking for Emily, but we were ready. We put 24-hour security on Linda's house. Emily was safe now. To catch Vincent, we set a trap. The FBI released news that Emily would give a new statement. Location: Northwestern Memorial Hospital. Secure room. Vincent and Dimitri would come. We were waiting. December 21st, 2021, Tuesday, 2:30 p.m., Northwestern Memorial Hospital. The trap was set. Emily and Linda were in a safe location, nowhere near the hospital. But the statement room was ready. FBI agents, hidden cameras, trap. At 2:47 p.m., a black SUV entered the hospital parking lot. Two men got out, one short and stocky, the other tall and thin. Vincent Kozlov and Dmitry Sokolov. They entered the hospital, approached reception. "We're here for Emily Chen's statement," Vincent said. They showed fake FBI badges. The security guard directed them. "Third floor, room 31. They took the elevator, went up to the third floor, walked down the corridor. When they opened the door to room 312, 8 FBI agents were waiting inside. "Hands up, FBI." Dmitry drew his gun, but too late. Agents took him down. Vincent tried to run, ran down the corridor, but I was there, cut him off. "It's over, Vincent," I said. "You've been running for 3 years. Emily Chen didn't forget you." Vincent stopped, panic on his face. "That child knows nothing," he said. "Wrong. She knows everything. And now she's talking." FBI agents arrived. Vincent Kozlov and Dmitry Sokolov were arrested. March 2022, Chicago Federal Court. Vincent Kozlov and Dmitry Sokolov were tried. Charges: 3 counts of first-degree murder. Robert, Michelle, Brandon Chen. Threats against a child. Emily Chen testified in court. The little girl who'd been silent for 3 years now bravely gave her statement. She sat before the jury, looked at Vincent. "That man," she said, "he came to our house that night. He killed my family." Vincent bowed his head. Dmitry said nothing. The jury decided in 2 hours. Guilty. Vincent Kozlov and Dmitry Sokolov were sentenced to life in prison. No parole. April 2022. Linda Martinez house. Emily was talking now, but still going to trauma sessions, still having nightmares at night. But she was healing. One day Linda called me. "David, Emily wants to see you." I went to their house. Emily gave me a drawing. This time it was different. No darkness, no fear, just a family picture. Robert, Michelle, Brandon and Emily, all together, happy. "I drew this to thank you," Emily said. "Now I can remember them, not just that night, the good days too." My eyes filled with tears. "You're a very brave girl, Emily." "No," she said. "You taught me to be brave and to speak." Linda looked at us. "David, Emily is asking, maybe she can help other children, other witnesses who can't speak." I thought about it, then turned to Emily. "What do you think, Emily? Would you like to work with me someday?" Emily smiled, her first real smile in 3 years. "Yes," she said. "Let's help the silent voices." 2025 today. Emily Chen is now 15 years old, still living with Linda, still going to therapy, but talking now. She loves school, has friends, a normal teenage girl. But Emily hasn't forgotten. She continues drawing. Now not just memories, she's drawing the future. And sometimes she works with me, helping other child witnesses who can't speak, teaching them something. Silence sometimes protects, but eventually, speaking sets you free. Vincent Kozlov is rotting in prison. So is Dmitry Sokolov. Michelle Chen's brave decision to speak to the FBI cost her life. But in the end, justice prevailed. Emily's first words were, "My mum knew them," and her last words were, "I'm not afraid anymore." Case closed.